Hey folks, Martin again. I'll be walking you through this next lesson. Let's talk about the most underrated superpower in organizing, the intentional one-on-one conversation. This isn't just about grabbing coffee. It's how you turn a handshake into a lasting relationship. Whether you're meeting someone new or reconnecting to an old contact, today you'll learn how to make every minute count. So first and foremost, what is a one-on-one in the context of community organizing? A one-on-one is a strategic conversation with one goal: to build trust and bolster the relationship to help move your mission forward. You'll mainly use a one-on-one to launch new relationships. It's very often an introductory meeting with somebody that you're meeting for the first time. You could have met this person at an event, at a school board meeting, at an action or a rally, or just in your community, like at the grocery store. But it's somebody engaged in your community who is aligned with the goals you're trying to achieve. So, for the first type of one-on-one that you're likely going to be engaging in, it's just simply an introductory meeting for you to get to know them and for them to get to know you. The other way that you can use one-on-one conversations is to maintain relationships or re-engage relationships that may have fallen off your social calendar. Maybe you haven't talked to that friend from college in a long time, or you haven't conversed with the parents from the school your kids go to for a while. This maintenance one-on-one can be a great way to utilize a one-on-one conversation effectively to re-engage those folks or to continue engaging people in your network or community. Remember, this isn't just small talk, it's trust building with a purpose. So why does it matter that we do one-on-one conversations? These one-on-one conversations are designed to help you to build trust and deepen relationships with people in your network, in your community, or in the space you're doing your advocacy work. Organizing is built on trust, and the best resource is your relationships you have in your community or in the places you're organizing. They also help you to understand other people's perspective and gain more awareness about your community members and the issues that impact them. For example, there are likely issues impacting your local community that maybe you're not directly impacted by. So you'll want to garner the perspective of folks who are directly impacted by those issues. Or, even if you are impacted by them, say you're working on the environment or climate change, the way that those impact your life may differ from how they impact other folks in the community. And so, these one-on-ones really help you get a holistic perspective of the issues that are impacting your community, often in different ways than your own experience. Getting that perspective and understanding is critical to your leadership. Lastly, the reason that they're important and the reason behind why we do them is they're the foundation to successful advocacy and, eventually, exploring public service opportunities. Your ability to build and maintain relationships that are built on trust and mutual understanding or achieving goals is going to help you bolster your network and help you accomplish your individual goals. So, when you're thinking about setting up a one-on-one, there are 4 different pieces to doing this that we're going to walk through in this lesson. We're going to talk about how you set up specific, achievable goals in these intentional one-on-one conversations. Once you understand the goal, what does the setup of an intentional one-on-one look like? And what are the things you need to be doing before you actually have the conversation? Next, we'll review some best practices for the meeting and the one-on-one conversation itself. And lastly, and probably most importantly, what you need to do to follow up from that meeting to ensure that you're getting the most out of the conversations and the relationships that you are building. So let's dive into the goals you should have going into a one-on-one conversation. These goals are your goals as the person setting up the one-on-one, not necessarily the larger goals we're trying to achieve for the community. If you are working on homelessness, the goal of the one-on-one isn't for the two of you to solve homelessness in your community. Like I mentioned before, the main goal is to build and maintain a relationship and/or move someone into action. Having an understanding of what the goal is for each one-on-one is going to help you set up the meeting properly, understand what types of questions you're going to be asking during the meeting, and give you a sense of what follow-up may come from that meeting. So now that you've decided the goal for your meeting, you're going to want to move to actually setting up the conversation with the person you've identified for a one-on-one. For your first meeting and before your first meeting, you really want to do a little bit of research or background. If the person is an elected official or a community leader or someone who holds some sort of role in the community, you'll want to look up their bio. What are their interests? How are they connected to the groups and organizations in your community? What are the efforts that they've been involved with already? You want to really have a sense of who this person is and where they spend their time and energy before going into the meeting to help you make that meeting as effective as possible. Be sure that they also understand what kind of meeting this is. As you are setting up the meeting with them, you're also going to want to be very clear. Say, I'm having an intentional one-on-one conversation with you because we're both working on a particular issue that's impacting our community, and I want to understand how we can maybe help each other do the work in this space together. You're not reaching out just to say to the person, hey, can we grab a coffee and chit-chat? And then allow for negotiation. They may say something like, that sounds great, but can we also talk about this other thing? Or, that sounds great, but can we actually move it to a different time or a different place? You want to set up the one-on-one in a place and a time that feels comfortable for both of you. You'll need to prepare some open-ended questions for the meeting, and I will give you some examples of these later on in this session. Lastly, give them a time frame. Can we meet in the next 2 weeks? Can we meet in the next 6 months? Decide for yourself how quickly you want to advance these one-on-ones. Give them that sense of time so they can also land on a time that makes sense for both of you. So now that you've set up the meeting, you know what your goal is, and you're ready to have the actual conversation, let's talk about how to set it up. First and foremost, be prepared but not scripted. This should still feel like an organic conversation that you want to have, and you may go in thinking you're going to ask 5 questions, and it may develop into a different direction that you didn't even know the conversation was going to go in, and that's totally fine. Go with it. Be open to these sorts of unexpected outcomes. Some may come up in the conversation that you didn't realize you both had a mutual agreement or mutual experience with that may lead you down a path that is actually more connective and deeper for the both of you. This is a great opportunity to share your personal narrative you developed in the previous module to help you build trust with the person you're connecting with. I'll say this over and over in this lesson because it is so important. You should always ask open-ended questions. I love the 70-30 rule, where you should be listening for about 70% of the time and speaking only for about 30% of the time. Listen actively and take good notes, because it's in their answers that you're going to find those pieces of alignment and potential pieces of disagreement, but those are really going to help you understand how to build and cultivate and maintain these really important relationships in your community as you're trying to problem solve some tough problems together. Finally, always remember a one-on-one can and should often be mutually beneficial for both folks in the room. You may go in with an ask. Say you want them to help you host an event in your community on a particular issue you're organizing on. You may want them to speak at an event or host a rally. Now, they may want you to come back and do something for them. Can you come out and canvass on a particular issue? Could you become a monthly sustainer for an organization over here? Understand that in these conversations, there may be asks on both sides, which is normal and beneficial for both of you. Here's an extra pro tip. Don't be afraid of silence. Sometimes the best insights come after a pause. I've still got a few more tips here for the structure of a one-on-one. These conversations can feel very organic and natural, or depending on who you're talking to, they may also feel a little awkward. Think about how you want to introduce the conversation comfortably. Is it the place that you all are meeting? Is it some connection that you all have already via another relationship? Have a plan for how to break the ice so the conversation and the environment that you are in builds a feeling of warmth and organic conversation. If it's not the first meeting, focus on building rapport. Talk about your friends, your family, what your interests are, how you got involved in this community. Focus on being authentically yourself and discovering their authentic self. This is how you'll best find places that intersect and overlap. Begin with restating the purpose of the meeting. Something like, it's so lovely to meet you, and thank you for taking the time that you are spending with me today to chat about this particular issue that's impacting our community and what we can do about it together. Learn about their values, their purpose, and what resources they might have. What organizations are you part of? Are you on the board of any organizations? Do you volunteer with any particular organizations? Have you raised resources for these organizations? You're looking to get a sense of what the network of this person looks like and who they're normally in communication with. Thinking about all these questions is going to give you a sense of why they do the work that they do and how much time, money, and resources they're putting into it. At the end of the conversation, You should summarize the key points of your discussion, with an eye toward future plans and opportunities. And finally, invite them to make a commitment to something. Again, this can be showing up for a canvassing event, attending a fundraiser, or maybe just sharing material on social media. When you're thinking about this, ask yourself, what's that little step that you can get them to take now that will move the relationship forward and advance your goals? That's the commitment you want to ask of them. Now, let's look at some sample questions that you may be thinking about asking. Always go with an open-ended one, as mentioned before. If you come up with a question that you can answer in a yes or a no, try reframing the question so you can dig a little bit deeper. For example, how did you get involved in this issue or campaign? What organizations are you involved with, if any? What do you hope to accomplish in the short term or long term? Who else do you think I should speak with? What do you think our local elected official should be doing on this issue? What kind of support do you need to accomplish your goals? What are special interests or skills you could contribute? Understanding the answers to these questions is really going to help you work alongside this person moving forward. Now we've covered the one-on-one and all the preparation you did leading into it. Now it's time to talk about follow-up. You don't want to let 3 months go by, but you don't need to have a follow-up email ready to go the second they leave the coffee shop. Take the time to review your notes from the conversation, and a day or two later, send them a follow-up text or email depending on how you all were communicating prior. Be sure to thank them for giving you their time and attention and digging in deep with you on the issues that you both care about. Remember to follow through on whatever you committed to on both sides, what you asked of them and what they committed to, and potentially what they asked of you and you committed to. Recap on any key takeaways or next steps, just like you did at the end of the conversation. Remember to be specific, provide timelines for the next steps, and be clear on what you want from them. Finally, and most importantly, stay in touch. Build and nurture this relationship. As it grows, the benefit to both of you will also continue to grow. This was a big lesson. Let's recap. One-on-one conversations are critical to advocacy and community organizing, and honestly, all the work you're going to be doing. It's a tool to help you build trust and understand the perspectives of different community members that are being impacted by issues that you're working on. As you're getting ready for them, make sure that you are prepared, you are actively listening, and you are absolutely following up to ensure that these are as effective as they can be for the time and the energy that you're putting into them. You can find your one-on-one homework below.